And I feel that the never-ending soap opera that is the Commanders is just another turn. Here we go. And I was ready to talk about the 90th anniversary announcement and training camp and this and that. We've got an interview with Rick Snyder. But once again, here it comes, the days of our lives as Commanders fans. And what's Dan going to do? Because he wants to do this on his terms. I mean, there's a funny Twitter out there, Dan Snyder's Yacht Tracker. You know, you can actually see where in the world his boat is right now. And I don't feel like pulling it up, but for those of you that actually watched our YouTube channel last week, we added a video element. You can see that Twitter on there. And thank you to everyone that's given us a ton of feedback around it. We are happy to have this now on video. For those that don't want to just listen, you can actually watch my scary face and Riley's beautiful one on there. But
hey.
The funny thing is, I'm now curious, am I going to get a chance to see Dan's face? Am I going to get a chance to see this hearing or this testimony in front of Congress on the 28th? Is it going to be live? Is it going to be a deposition behind closed doors? What are we going to get to see as fans with this next episode of the soap opera?
You really want to see that, man?
I do. I feel like, we said last week, we give fans cliff notes around this team. And I want to know, because I always want to be educated around this team, because when you think of me, people think of three things: food, tailgating, and the football team. And I got to be able to be on top of all of it. And this is just the part of it I don't like, but I feel like it's almost my job or brand, if you will, to stay on top of it, good and bad.
Okay, I got you. And it's not always going to be good. We said at the first episode, as it stands right now, it seems as though it's almost 50-50 or 60-40, 60 bad, 40 good. So, I mean, it seems as though the playing field is starting to level a little bit, brother. I mean, so if we can just get 50-50, good and bad together, I will be winning off the field.
I would kill for 50-50, man. I mean, that would be amazing, because there are times when, people accuse the media of piling on and this and that. And it's not piling on. It's just reporting what has happened. This wasn't something that you and I had planned to talk about, but I feel that we would be hiding from it. And now that it's actually come out, it's here. And we'll find out in a couple of weeks what actually is going to happen. I know this isn't going to be the last of it. And I'm curious to see if Dan's going to have some audio visual problems all of a sudden during that Zoom on his boat. It's going to be interesting, but I'm getting my popcorn ready.
Yeah, I tell you what, as brilliant as Dan is, do you think that he's going to have a happy Thanksgiving moment? Or will he be reading from a script of already, basically pre-answer type of questions, standard answers that he's just gonna, he'll doctor it up. There'll be answers that will encompass everything, but at the same time, he'll be able to doctor it up just a little bit, because he doesn't know exactly, at least to my knowledge, he doesn't know exactly what they're going to ask. He has an idea, but his lawyer will already have, okay, well, if they go this way, you can say this, or you can mention that. Stay on script, Dan. Like Star Wars, stay on target. I can't shake him. Stay on target. And what happened to him? He got
good. I can't maneuver.
Stay on target.
We're too close.
Stay on target.
Loosen up.
Blown up. I forgot who that was in Star Wars. Do you remember who that was? That was
I think it was Biggs.
It was Biggs. Yeah,
I think it was Biggs.
Yeah. So the commander told him to stay on target, and he got blown up in the end of Star Wars. So we're going to see if he's going to be able to stay on target, or is he going to waver and say Happy Thanksgiving?
Zero chance, man. Zero chance he stays on target. There's a reason why the last interview he did was with Chick Hernandez years ago. And I want to say that was on Comcast Sportsnet. I don't even remember what it was anymore. And there's a reason why he doesn't speak publicly. He just doesn't do well in those scenarios and doesn't come across well. And yes, your lawyer can prepare you for everything they can possibly think of, but I feel that he's going to have a prepared statement like Roger Goodell did. For those of you that remember, when Goodell testified in front of Congress, I think it was, I don't know, maybe it was one of the guys on Pro Football Focus or Pro Football Talk, sorry, they actually had a copy of Goodell's statement. So the statement came out word for word prior to Goodell actually testifying that day. So we all knew what Goodell was going to say.
Mhm.
I feel that Snyder's going to have a typed up statement that he's going to go down and he's going to talk about all the people that they've hired since and everything that's been done and how he wasn't actually at the park when these things were happening and how they've fired and let go of all those people. But then he's going to get a bunch of questions from left field and he's going to have to handle it. And one thing that I miss about being on Fox 5 when I had my weekly segments was live TV. It's an adrenaline rush. You never know
Yeah.
what someone is going to ask you. And there were times when I would just have notes all over the place and just be regurgitating things to myself before the camera came on because I didn't know what Steve, one of the anchors, was going to hit me with or what Wisdom was going to ask me. And there were a
Mhm.
couple times when they got me out of left field, and I've got no doubt that same thing is going to happen to Dan, and he's going to be a deer in headlights.
Well, it happens to all of us because I've had some hits on TV as well, and you got your mind prepared of what you're going to say, and then all of a sudden they throw a question at you, and you're like, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I feel you, brother. I feel you.
I hope for the fan base's sake that this just means we're one step closer to some type of resolution, whatever that resolution may be, because this has been a cloud hanging over our head. I don't care what happens. We stated this before. I just want the truth. And if we're going to get the truth on the 28th, then so be it. I felt that the NFL has already closed the book to a degree with Roger Goodell's testimony. It sounded to me when Roger talked that when they fined the Commanders $10 million and Snyder was told to, by himself, not be there for a year, he's done. But really, until the Mary Jo White report is out, I don't think the NFL is going to do anything else. And I don't really know what Congress has the power to do because 24 owners have to vote him out. And last time I checked, Congress makes a lot of money, but they don't own any NFL franchises.
Nah. And the other thing is, so you've 24 owners. We know it takes that. The other issue is, and we feel this, we just feel it was a cover up. And all it takes is 1 ounce for you to feel it was a cover up. And no matter what, it was a cover up, no doubt about it. So he needs to be able to get out in front of that story if he can, to say, no, it was this or it was that, so that we can, like you said, put it to bed. But no matter what, we all feel that it was a cover up, no matter what. So he's got to get in front of that. He's got to let it be known. No, I did this, and because of that, it looks this way, but in all actuality, it was this way. And like you said, brother, the NFL fined the man already. And it was, like you said, Roger Goodell's facial expression was almost like he was wiping his hands of it after it was said and done.
Yeah. And for those fans that want Dan out, I'm not trying to rain on your parade. I just want people to understand the facts because I feel that in today's Twitter society, we get 141 characters. People don't dive into the details anymore. And the facts are, Congress asked Goodell, why won't you get rid of Dan Snyder? Goodell came out and said, I don't have that authority. The only people that have that authority are the owners. And are you going to find 24 other owners that don't have a skeleton in their closet? I don't think so. So I feel he's going to be around, but who knows? Only time will tell. But speaking of time telling, July 9th was the anniversary of the franchise. So our 90th anniversary. And I get it. The Commanders have been here for a cup of coffee, but the Washington franchise, well, in actuality, the football team franchise has been here since July 9th. And we all know the date, 1932. For those that don't know, we were actually the Boston Braves.
The Braves. So, that's right.
Yeah, I can't stand the baseball team. That used to be our football team name. So you have a lot of fans that are, up in arms. The Commanders have been here for, just not even a year. We're the Redskins. Like, you know what, guys? Know your history. We were the Braves. We haven't
Yeah.
always been the Redskins. Yes, 90% of our tenure has been as that, but it's still the same franchise. And we are celebrating 90 years, which is, a huge feat. Not a lot of other franchises can say that.
Man, I try to stay even keeled when people come at me that way, but it's rough, bro. It really is. And like you say, I'll never change. Well, okay, you will never change. However, I have. So I ask you, re- respect. If you value me as a friend, because I'll value you as a friend, I respect the fact that you don't want to change. And as I always say, in the heart, it will always be the Redskin in the heart. But the name has changed. So it's time to slowly move on in your own time. But don't flood my timeline with the stuff that will never change and all that type of stuff. I mean, it's a moot point at this point. It's just like saying RFK. It's not going to happen. So you got to try to move on, if you will.
And I know it's difficult, and I understand why it's difficult for some fans to move on. And I'm, like Rally, not saying you have to do it by this certain time period, but yeah, like you, I got hit with a bunch of people that like, oh, that's horrible. No, we are the Redskins, this and that's like, okay, guys, I get it. I'm just trying to share the patch and information and some of the announcements.
Yeah.
And mute is a beautiful thing on Twitter. I am glad that you can do that. They added another feature where you can actually remove yourself from a conversation on Twitter.
Oh, really?
So you can click on 3 dots next to that actual tweet and remove yourself from the conversation. You can't be re-added to the conversation or tagged again, and it just stops blowing up your timeline. So something to keep in mind for those out there. But for those that don't know, the team on a Saturday, and I don't know, well, I get why they did it on the Saturday because that was July 9th, but they came out with the announcement. And part of the announcement was they unveiled a 90th anniversary patch. It's also going to be worn on the front of the jerseys for the 2022 season. It's to honor the past and give a nod to the new era as the Commanders. The patch combines elements reflective of the organization's 90-year history while incorporating the new Commanders brand identity. I saw the patch. I don't see anything with a new brand identity in there. I mean, when you're talking about honoring the past years, all you have are dates. And I'm not expecting a ton. I'm not expecting to stitch in like Super Bowl trophies and things of that into the patch. But I feel that part of the announcement, a little lackluster when you actually got to see it.
Well, I'm sure by this time everyone has seen the patch. I actually like it. And I will be visiting the team store to pick one up, or Fanatics, or wherever they'll have it on sale. But I like it. And you can't do everything that everyone wants, but to me it encompasses the old, as you said, with the bridge to the new. And that's all we can do at this point. Some people aren't going to like it. Some people are going to just be meh. Other people are going to love it. Whatever it is across the board, just let's respect one another. That's all I ask.
And I do like it. I just feel that I was expecting more when they came out with this announcement when I finally saw it.
Mm-hmm.
We laughed last week. And for those that haven't seen it, watch our YouTube channel. I put different clips and videos and images over top. So it's not just Rally and I talking. You'll get a chance to see the patch. But, I was looking forward to seeing that Thor movie. I brought it up last week. So I saw it last Thursday. It was exciting. Did it live up to the hype? No. I was excited about the patch. Did it live up to the hype? No. I'm still happy about seeing the movie. I'm still happy about the patch. I just wanted more. And like you, I'm going to be there to buy it at the team store. Mm-hmm. It's apparently going to be there beginning this August. I don't know when the team store is going to reopen. For those, it's closed right now at FedEx, but you can buy stuff on Fanatics or different websites. Now, a couple of other announcements are, and this is kind of where the team dropped the ball again. You have the opportunity as a fan to help decide which 10 players will be added to the current 80 greatest list. So the team came out with a list of players this past weekend, and fans got to vote on it. Well, I saw that list. Other people saw that list, and there were a couple of people that were left off.
Mm-hmm.
The one that most famously was left off at that time was Trent Williams. And a lot of fans that didn't click on the list are saying, oh, Trent's still playing. Well, Kirk Cousins was on the list and he's still playing. Oh, well, Trent left on bad terms. What does that matter? Number one. And Champ Bailey left here on bad terms and he's on that list. It's a list for the greatest players in franchise history. You take feelings out of it. We're not teenage girls here.
Yeah. And no disrespect to teenage girls. But yeah.
Yeah, they're a little emotional. And okay, those of you that know me, I am emotional when it comes to this team. But how do you just a little bit, but how do you leave Trent Williams off that list? I mean, he just got a 99 rating in Madden, for those of you that game and play Madden. But when he was here, just a perennial Pro Bowler, the best player on our team, and to leave him off that list is just, to me, a just gross act of negligence or pettiness. And he had problems with Bruce Allen, not with Dan Snyder.
Not with Dan. He always said that.
So why, Bruce Allen's gone, why would it be left off the list? Odd thing, Brian Mitchell, some of the other alumni also got a list that they got to vote on. Trent was on that list, but he wasn't on the one that went out to the fans. So I understand why you have multiple lists. And I was talking to a couple of media people about this. Maybe it's like the Pro Bowl where fans vote only count for, I don't know the real percentage, but a fan vote is 30%, players themselves is 40%. And then, coaches or alumni are 30%, whatever. I don't know how the team is breaking it up, but you would think we could all vote on the same people that have a chance to be selected to this honorary list.
But see, Ted, once again, man, you're talking about the right thing, man. That's the right thing to do. And the right thing doesn't always happen, as we know. We want it to, but it just doesn't.
No, it doesn't, man. And it's frustrating because after all of our complaints on social media, I do give the team credit for this, even though get it right the first time. They added Trent to the list, but they also added RG3 to the list.
Yes, they did.
And okay, and no one ever hit me up to see if they can get my RG3 jersey for, a case of beer at the Commanders practice. I guess no one wants it, and I don't blame them unless you want a diaper. That's about all that thing's good for. But Robert was here for 1 year. This is the greatest players for our franchise. Have we sunk that low where we are adding a flash in the pan player to that list to vote on?
Well, the thing is, though, I understand he was here for 1 year, but what have we had? We haven't had anything for a while. I mean, so that 1 year packed the stands at FedEx Field. How many? You bought one. I bought at least 3 RG3 jerseys. So on that aspect, I see why. Personally, I don't think Kirk Cousins should be on it.
Really?
I don't think he should be, but he is. Okay, for that, and this, we don't have to get into a debate, but even though Kirk did what he did here, did he have the juice that RG3 had in 2012?
So to me, it's not juice. It's he owns so many passing records as a Washington Redskin.
Bum passing yards, man. Come
on. We all know that. Those that watch the game know that, those were just garbage yards Kirk would get.
And that's why I can't add Kirk Cousins. Okay. That's Rally Captain's personal opinion, not Ted's. And I understand that, yeah, he broke records. He did. I get it. But when it comes down to it, who made the stadium come alive? RG3 did. So I understand why he's there.
Yes, he did make the stadium come alive. But once again, we're talking 90 greatest. that played for this franchise. When I think of that, and for those that haven't seen the list, you've got Chris Cooley. Yes, in my eyes, he deserves to be in. London Fletcher. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Trent Williams. Yes. Ryan Kerrigan. Hell yes. Santana Moss. Yes. Those guys make sense. And not to do with the fact that they're not playing anymore other than Trent. Those guys, when I think of them, you know, Santana had a different quarterback every year of his career here throwing the ball. You know, Alfred Morris, I feel was a stretch. You know, D'Angelo Hall, okay, yes. Champ Bailey, Champ's career was made in Denver, not here.
Yeah.
So should he really be one of the best here? And we get to vote on 10 names. Why'd you only give us 17? I feel like there are others that are being left off this. And, you know, for those that are hearing this now, we recorded a show with Rick Snyder, and Rick, famous historian for the team, award-winning, you know, writer. He goes on different shows from time to time. He told me how they came up with the list for the 70th and 80th. And it was basically people locked in a room going to blows on this, similar to how they do Hall of Fame voting.
Jeez.
This, I feel, was come up with by a couple of people that played Madden once.
Well, unfortunately, Ted, and maybe I'm wrong, it just seems as though that's where some people get their information from. It's Madden. I mean, I'm not going to talk bad about them. We've been through it already. But like you said, hey, if you want to know, just ask someone else outside of the circle who isn't in the think tank. Hey, bounce it off of us. We'll tell you. We'll give you the down and dirty. But I honestly don't believe they want to hear from us on that aspect of things. On certain things, yes. Other things, we got it. We'll take care of it. And if we make a mistake, so be it. We'll just erase it and start all over again. That's what it feels like.
If you don't want to hear from us, don't let us vote. Don't give us the option. Say, hey, we spoke to alumni. We spoke to past coaches. We spoke to, you know, Charlie Casserly. We spoke to, you know, Bubba Tyre. Speaking of which, those two should be on the list. If you've got coaches that are on here, you should have Charlie on that list.
Oh, facts. Definitely. Well, but see, Ted, you got to understand, I have to make it seem as if I am giving you, Joe Fan, something. I have to make it seem that way. All right.
You gave me a patch.
And you feel better about it, that you may have had a vote in something, when in all actuality, you may not have actually had a vote.
And if we have a vote or not yet is yet to be seen. And I don't think we're ever going to find that out. It's just frustrating because when the list came out, and the team has since fixed it, but it's not the fact that they left Trent Williams off the list. It's the fact that they misspelled a bunch of the players' names wrong. They got dates wrong that the players actually played here. The stats they got wrong. I mean, you got to think that this is a list that they've been working on for some time and that there would be some oversight into it. It's just unforced errors by the franchise that frustrate a majority of us.
It does. I mean, and this isn't pile on day, but a couple years back, they spelled in the Ring of Fame, they spelled some players' names wrong. So it happens. And I'm not quite sure, like you said, the checks and balances, who's doing the checks, all right, and who's doing the balances, because it shouldn't happen. At least if it does happen, okay, every once in a while, but this seems to happen once every year or twice every year. The oversight has to do better.
And like you said, it's not pile-on day. It's just this just recently happened. I think we had a couple of good episodes where, you know, we had nothing to complain about. Well, you know, kind of looking back now, it's great. The team is giving us a Snapchat lens so we can dress up in iconic Washington uniforms over the years. You know, I don't have Snapchat, probably because I'm 40, but, you know, it's fine. Those that do, hey, you can do that. They've given fans TikTok video that you can actually dance to replicate the celebration dances and recreate them themselves. These are things that, you know, they're thinking, I don't want to say outside the box, but they're thinking in a new box. They're trying to bring in a new generation of fans. Yeah. All of that is great. just get the other stuff right, the blocking and tackling right, then this would have been an amazing announcement that nobody could nitpick other than, you left Trent off, but just get those things right. Get a copy editor, whatever it may be, to fix some of these things that are fixable. Because, if we play the Packers this year and Aaron Rodgers just crushes us, they don't have a control over that. That's Aaron maybe just playing outside of his mind. This is stuff that they can control. And they need to focus on getting those things right.
The little things.
It really is.
Yeah, the little things make it to be bigger things.
And some of the little things that they're doing is the team is going to celebrate legends at home games throughout the season. And each game will feature a legend as an honorary captain. I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see some of the older players out there being honored. They're going to do in-game tributes that are going to have commemorations to all 5 of the championship winning teams. For those that don't know, yes, I said 5, because we won 2 championships before Super Bowls were a thing.
Super Bowl, right.
And they count. And they're going to reveal the permanent installation at FedEx for Sean Taylor. And they're going to celebrate the Hogs, the legendary offensive line. And I am excited about the 90th anniversary. I'm excited about everything the team has planned. I am happy that they are announcing this now, because I think this shows that they are learning their mistake from the Sean Taylor mess last year when they gave us less than a week's notice for his number being retired.
Yeah. And I have a lot of people, as I'm sure as well as you do, who want to come to see a certain player's commemoration. They want to be able to see that. And so it just makes sense to put it out now, because let's face it, man, plane tickets, lodging, rental cars, it's expensive. And most people just don't have that drop on a dime within a couple of weeks. But now it truly gives you an opportunity to plan, hey, you know what? I did like XYZ player, so I'll be coming on week 6, or I did like whatever, and I'll be coming on week 9, hypothetically. So I'm really looking forward to it as well, and I hope that that they really do their homework, do the research, and find out all the clips and everything that they need, so that it can truly be a commemorative event.
Agreed. And they only have so much time at halftime. And don't do this before a game when your fan base is not in the stands. Before a game, it's the opposing fans that are in the stands, because they don't have a tailgate to go to or anywhere to hang out. Honor these people when fans are actually going to be there, and just, work on it, but give us a heads up. It's great that you're telling us these things are coming. Let us know in advance when these people are going to be honored and what's going to happen. And, don't make it a surprise, because we're going to be there. Just give us a chance to plan for it. Because like Riley said, certain fans want to be there to recognize certain players, and we all want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And everyone can't make it to every home game, but they do pick out certain games. And if their player is the one that's being highlighted for that Sunday, then they're going to do everything they can in their power to get there.
They definitely will. And speaking of doing everything they have in their power to get there, well, last week after Terry had his press conference, he hopped on a plane and went out to California, hung out with Carson Wentz, and there were actually a couple of other Commanders that were there in attendance. But there were also a couple, well, one notably, that didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of, Washington Twitter, Commanders Twitter was going crazy. I mean, me included. The guys are out there, they're just, who knows what field they were on. They're just throwing a ball around. We didn't actually see any video. There wasn't anyone running a route that we could tell. They were just hanging out. And we talked last week about, we haven't seen this since I remember Hogs 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
And Grant Paulson on 106.7 The Fan made a funny comment on his show saying this is kind of like porn for Commanders football fans. We get off on seeing this type of thing because this is a month that they have to spend time with their families, but yet they're spending time with each other. And I want to play you a clip as to why this is important. And Logan Paulson was a former tight end for the Redskins. He now does work with the Commanders, and he's also on a podcast with Craig Hoffman called Take Command. Logan actually chimed in on kind of what he and the guys would do when he played for the Redskins.
Involved in any of those, and what's the value of these guys getting together specific to this group? Because I actually do think Terry and Carson specifically getting together it's not like a championship winning big deal, but like it's not nothing.
Yeah, no. So when in 2011, the lockout year, this team had like a full-on 7-on-7. So it wasn't mandatory, but it was about as close as mandatory as it probably could have gotten. I remember I stayed at Chris Cooley's house, and we drive out to James Madison University, and we do passing. And honestly, like that was one of the, a big part of my growth, because you got to kind of meet other guys on the team and kind of build those relationships. And also you got a lot of players coaching you, a lot of like Chris Cooley insight. He was always great about doing that anyway, but it was just, he was the coach for that period, and kind of talking with him. And then it allowed you to kind of build those relationships with the quarterbacks. And I think it's extremely advantageous. And as I got older, and, later in my career, in Atlanta, Matt Ryan would do that every offseason pretty much. And I never went to one of those because I was very covetous of my time with the family, because unlike those guys that live in Atlanta and stayed with their family the whole offseason, like I was moving to a new city to do the offseason program there. So I was like, well, I get 30 days with my family, so I'm going to make sure I capitalize on that. But I do think it's very, very advantageous, especially in the case of Terry, who missed OTAs, because this is a time for him to kind of build on some of that communication and build that relationship with the quarterback. And obviously, I think the young guys, like it's great to see Jahan out there. The fact that Cole Turner went, I think, is really special, because, one of the things, we talked about Austin Hooper on this podcast before, and, I mentioned that how, I just said be in the building more, and that'll kind of help foster a relationship with the organization. But Hoop also made a big commitment to going wherever Matt went for throwing. Hoop did that, and it helped kind of cement that relationship and helped cement that trust. So for the young guys to do that with Carson, I think is great. And it's again, like, are they going to be, and you talked about this on your podcast about conditioning, like the beep tests and stuff on your Train with the Best podcast. And to me, this is another great kind of position specific conditioning time too. Right. In addition to the relationship stuff that you're getting, in addition to the timing stuff you're getting, you're also getting guys who are going to be in football shape, because they're throwing with an NFL quarterback, they're running routes at NFL speeds. And I think that's all great stuff. And you get to kind of hang out in LA or wherever they're at, go to the bar at night, go to dinner, or whatever they're going to do. And that's always great for, again, building that relationship, building that trust. And that's such a big part of the offense.
So what did you think when you saw Twitter blow up? Because you actually tagged me on Facebook on that picture that came out.
Well, I thought it was great. And for everyone who follows me on the Rally Captain fan page, I had mixed opinions. Personally, I said it's a great thing. It's a great fan site that we needed to see. It was great for them to build camaraderie with each other. And other people said, this doesn't impress me, because they're just throwing the ball in shorts and shorts. And if you want to impress me, then how come the defense of backs didn't show up? And you want to? And I said, guys, why does it always have to be this negative Nancy type stuff? The fact of the matter is, the guys are on their off time trying to work together and understand each other. Why always play the negative Nancy? And so I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. And I think that it will help take us to the next level, whatever that level may be. And I'm going to leave it at that.
And I do agree with you. It's great. And I never thought, why weren't the DBs there? Because really, the DBs aren't going to get a ton out of it. And it was there because, Carson and Terry didn't have a chance to get together. So they wanted to do that. But they also wanted to invite others. Jahan Dotson was in attendance. Antonio Gibson was there. Cam Sims was there. Heineke was there. Cole Turner was there.
Yeah.
Dax Milne was there. I'm curious if his new girlfriend was there, but all those guys were hanging out and they were getting a chance. And another part of the Take Command podcast, if you get a chance, go listen to them after you listen to us. They do a great job. They talked about, why it was good for Heineke to be there, because Heineke and Heineke and Terry can tell Carson why in this scheme Scott Turner likes to do this, because Heineke knows the system. That's why he was brought in here. So to be able to build that rapport and hang out and come together, yes, there aren't coaches there, but you heard Logan Paulson just say that Chris Cooley would be a player coach, telling you where to line up. I can see Terry doing the same thing with Jahan, that he's been in the system and he knows what to do and what to go on, and you build that rapport. And that's also why we talked in an earlier episode why we're frustrated that they're not going to Richmond, because they're not getting a chance to have this bond and do this. And it's exciting to see the guys take this initiative on their own, not, told by a coach or someone to do. You would always have, at least me growing up, your parents tell you, I think you should do this, but, I'm not going to scold you if you don't. Or your teacher saying, it might be a good idea if you do this. Well, we all know that meant you should probably do it. No, these guys just volunteered to come together on their off time and hang out.
Yeah. It's like in the military when your commander or your sergeant, first sergeant, taps his foot and okay, you're going to see this again. And he's making a mental note so you can say, oh, I better pay attention now. So I agree with you, man. This only can help, not hurt. And that's how I truly feel. Screw all the negative talk, because it starts from the bottom on up. They could have been anywhere else, but they were together. And that's what I care about.
The one thing that I don't want to say bothered me, but that did stand out was no Curtis Samuel, no De'Ami Brown, no Logan Thomas. And the only thing, and they might have had a prior engagement. This was something that happened last minute because Terry signed, Carson hit him up. We all know that they were texting during this whole thing. So they could have had prior plans, prior vacations, who knows? I wish it would come out that Curtis wasn't there because he had something prior that was already scheduled. He could not move, because now the thought is, was Curtis not there because he's still not healthy? Was Logan not there because he's still not healthy?
But we know that Logan is not healthy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see Logan. I honestly, whatever Logan needs to do to get himself back without running routes and being really strenuous, that's what I want to see from Logan. I'm happy that I didn't see him out there, because the last thing we need is him to go out there with those guys, hypothetically tweak something, and now he's a setback. So it's like Chase. I don't want to see Chase out there. I'm hoping he's doing everything within his regiment that he needs to and not going outside of it, because we don't need any setbacks. Now, Curtis Samuels, bruh, holla at us. You can DM me, bruh. Talk to me. I won't share to our two listeners, our two followers. I won't. But come on, man. Let us know something, because believe it or not, we are on your side. But you make it hard for us, bro. You really do.
I want Curtis to do two things. One, let us know why he wasn't there. And if it was because, like I said, maybe one of his friends was getting married or he had a really dope barbecue to go to. I don't care. Just so it's not a health thing. And the second thing I want him to do, change your number. Get rid of number 10. It's bad luck here. I think the commander should retire number 10 unceremoniously this season. Just say, you know what? We don't want anyone to ever wear it again, because it hasn't worked out in the past decade and some change for anyone that's worn that number. So we're going to just get rid of it, because I feel that number is cursed. I know that's not what it is. I know I'm just stretching here, but at a certain point, if Curtis can't actually practice, and we'll see what happens in training camp, there's some weird things happening with that number, man. There's some bad mojo.
Man, we've got 15 days. 15 days, brother. And I, for one, I hope to be able to be there. Hopefully this lottery That's for the lottery gods up there. Please rain down a ticket for the captain because you said you weren't going to be able to be there, right, on the 27th.
No, I can be there on the 27th and 28th. I just didn't have that option to select it with the business package I had. But then when you sent me that screenshot, I immediately went back to the website and saw. So for those of you who don't know, you can actually go to the Commanders website. I don't know what the exact URL is. Maybe I'll put it in the video on YouTube, but you can select a bunch of different dates that you can make training camp. I basically picked every day because I can be there every day.
Lucky.
So if we win the lottery, fingers crossed, love to be out there. Or if any other fans have any extra passes, hit your boy Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted up, and we'd love to join you.
Well, because my job allowed me to take off the 27th. So if anyone has the 27th and you have an extra ticket, by all means, contact me, DM me, because I need to be there. The captain needs to be there the first day. All right.
Yeah, the 28th I'll probably be out there with my phone watching the hearing, but I'm still hoping to be out there. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, it's great to see that these guys are working on their craft and they're doing this voluntarily.
Definitely.
Pete Prisco from CBS Sports came out with the top 100 NFL players according to him. And it's a slow time in the NFL unless you're a Commanders fan. Not a lot's going on. With us, there's always something happening. But on this list, I'm curious, have you seen the list?
I did look at it.
Okay.
And you bring that up, and I almost would have switched a player out because I only saw two. And did you see two as well?
So for those that don't know, we only had two players on that list. And the two that were on, one, John Allen, who was ranked 61st, and each player had a blurb below them. So it said, John has emerged as a force in the middle of the Washington defense. He was its best defensive lineman last season with his ability to push the pocket and play the run, a big part of their unit. He had 9 sacks in 2021 with injuries all around him impacting their line. So John was 61st. Okay, I didn't look to see what other defensive linemen were ahead of him and if he was better. I did see that Von Miller was higher than John, but hey, they just won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The one player, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and number 67 was Chase Young. And piggybacking on how you read Jonathan Allen's blurb, I'll read Chase Young's blurb. And it says he played just 9 games in 2021, tearing an ACL to end his season. At the time, he had a disappointing 1.5 sacks. He didn't play as expected, but the talent is still there. He will be 10 months removed from the ACL injury when the team kicks off the 2022 season. Now, I got to tell you, I think that maybe not in that number order, but Terry McLaurin should have been over Chase Young. Chase, I got love for you, dog, but I think that Terry McLaurin has been the most standard player, overachiever for the Washington Redskins, Redskins football team, now Commander. He just has. So, Chase, I got love for you, but I honestly believe that Terry McLaurin should have been on this list and not Chase.
So Terry was an honorable mention, and I don't know what that gets, but it's BS. I don't understand why they left Terry off the list. And, CeeDee Lamb was number 57. Just to compare within the division, CeeDee was 57. CeeDee had 79 passes for 1,102 yards and 6 touchdowns. Terry had 77 catches for 1,053 yards and 5 touchdowns. Their stats are comparable, but CeeDee also had Amari Cooper and he had Dak Prescott. Terry put his numbers up with Taylor Noodle Arm Heineke and no receiver beside him. And he still did that.
Not Noodle Arm.
Man, the guy, he reminds me of Danny Warfel, the way he throws. Other than I don't think he wears a glove when he throws the football.
Hey, don't say that too loud. So Bob come through the phone and get you. All right.
That's fine. She lives in Carolina. She doesn't know where I am right now. It's okay. But did Pete not watch? Does he not look at the roster and the depth chart? You put CeeDee Lamb at 57. You couldn't have thrown Terry a bone and put him at 75 with numbers comparable, knowing the cast of characters he had with him.
Yeah, that's to me a total diss right there. If there ever was one, they even had Michael Parsons up on there, which I understand. Michael Parsons, he was a wrecking ball last year, but getting back to Commander news, Terry should be there, hands down.
And I don't think Terry's this type of player. I feel that he is motivated because he just wants to be better. But I would love it if some of his teammates put this in his locker to motivate him even more. Not that he needs it by any means, but
I would say that. Yeah, I don't think he needs
use
it.
this fuel and just add that, because he did say, and we played it last week during his presser, individual stats come with team stats, or, paraphrasing that, team success. And, maybe we'll get more than two guys on that list, or, one guy that really deserves it and another guy that's really questionable. If you would have moved Chase down into the 90s based on hype, he still shouldn't have been there, but I'm just trying to make a case in my head, but no, it still doesn't make sense.
The person who needs this in his locker is number 10.
I'm hoping he changes that number. Yeah, no, he should have something in there and some motivation. I would love to know his contract and how much he's actually, I'm not trying to get in the man's pocket, but if you break down how much he has made over the amount of snaps he has taken,
guaranteed
that has
money.
to just be embarrassing.
Guaranteed money. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'll say this. No, we don't technically know everything that's going on with Curtis. But once again, we talked about it with Dan. It's the optics that don't look good. And optics a lot of times lead to perception. We don't feel as though he's living up to his contract. We know he isn't. So, but there may be another reason why. And we're tired of just glossing over it, but as fans, we're not going to get the lowdown dirty that we feel that we need unless we were in the training room or something to that effect and somebody happened to leak something. But other than that, we're not going to know. But I really would like to understand what's going on with him. And I'm hoping that the reason why he didn't go to California is because, hey, you know what? The doctor said to stay off of this for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it is, and show us. Because in, what did I say? 15 days, it's where the rubber meets the road. And okay, how about this? Miss everything, Curtis. Miss everything. But you came up and you showed out for training camp and the first game and the second, the third, all through 17 games. How about that? I'll be cool with that. We know that we as Americans have a short memory span. We're not going to be talking about, but you know what? Curtis had a 1,000-yard season hypothetically. But do you remember he didn't go to California with those guys? We're not going to remember that. We're just not. But what we are going to remember is, was he there for training camp? Was he there for the first game, second game, and so forth and so on? That's what we're going to remember.
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't think any of this really matters. The guys getting together, I don't think any of it really matters and is going to affect the win total this season, but it can't hurt it, which is what we had said earlier. But,
Right.
Curtis is set to make $10.2 million this year. I don't care if he's set to make 15 million, 30 million, doesn't matter to me. I just want to see that they signed him to a 3-year, $34.5 million contract. He got paid $13 million last year, 13.3. No way it was worth that. But also no one could see this injury coming. Then we were all fed a bill of goods that he's healthy. Well, he missed part of minicamp. He missed part of OTAs. with an abundance of caution. They didn't want him to step on the field because it might have been a little too slippery. He ended up practicing that day. That's fine. But if you and I don't get out there on the 27th, the 28th, and someone else does, do us a favor when you're out there. Send us a tweet with a picture of Curtis if he's actually on the field doing something, because I would love to see if he is, because if he's not out in California with the guys, I'm hoping he's in a back to tank, just sitting there until training camp starts, just trying to get healthy, or he's in a hyperbolic chamber, just hibernating to put him in the best position possible to actually hit camp just 1,000% good.
I love your Star Wars folks. You know, Mandalorian. You know, let me find a Curtis Samuel Lorian. Come on, Curtis, we need you that back to tank, baby. Let's get this
I have
thing done.
seen some Commandalorian helmets out, things like that people are making.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah, I got to tell you, our fan base is very, very creative. I thought I was creative, but I'm not so much on the whole helmet thing. But you know, hey, more power to you guys. Keep it up, because you never know. They may be knocking on your door to be that mascot. You never know. So that's still up for grabs if someone's truly interested in it. Now, it's going to be a lot of work. So if you're a part-time fan, it's not going to be for you, you know? So, but keep up the creativity. I really love to see that.
No way they can select that. Well, I do agree. Keep up the creativity. But if they were to try and select that, here comes another soap opera with George Lucas coming to sue the Commanders for stealing, you know, just intellectual property and this and that. And we know it's not going to happen. Yeah. We're just joking around, but it is awesome to see fans with that creativity, and, you know, other fan bases do it, and people embracing the fact that, you know, we are going commando now and that we are the Commanders, and it's exciting. Yeah. But kind of thinking about the past again, RFK caught on fire, and it was on July 5th. So it's been a week. And those that stuck around till the very end of the YouTube show last week, I played, you know, We Didn't Start the Fire, just in case, you know, DC Fire EMS is wondering if you and I were responsible. We had nothing to do with it, but they put it out, and Events DC came out with a statement the next day. So Events DC, they actually run the event space for Washington, DC. And they came out and said, we are grateful for the swift response of DC Fire and EMS in responding to the two small localized fires at RFK Stadium yesterday evening. We are in close communication with DC Fire and EMS as they continue their investigation, and are working with our security partners to ensure the stadium site remains secure. Regarding the stadium demolition, the process concerning the abatement of hazardous materials has begun and will take several months. Demolition of major structural components will be completed by the end of 2023. So RFK is going to be gone by the end of 2023. The project is estimated to cost $20 million to tear that thing down.
Just to tear it down, $20 million.
Yeah.
God, you would think that it would be little or nothing to tear something down. But I mean, I understand. There's a lot of backstory behind of how you do it, what you need, safety. I get it. The question that I have is, did they ever find out how the fire started? Is there a homeless encampment deep in the tunnels of that place? Because I would probably say that there probably is a homeless encampment somewhere in there, because there are times when I'm driving, you know, underneath an overpass, and I'll see, I don't know why they have these doors that are attached to these bridges or these tunnels, but those doors will be open, and I've seen homeless people coming out of them. So I'm sure that they can get into those areas, that they can get into RFK when no one is looking.
No, and I don't think they actually found a reason. A lot of people, when it came out on Twitter on the 5th, they just assumed it was shrapnel from the 4th of July fireworks. You know, who knows what it could have been, but it was actually in the bowels of the stadium. And it was sad to see the state of RFK.
With the weeds and everything, just almost looking like a sandlot. That's what it reminded me of.
And I was definitely bummed. So I, started pulling up old pictures and thinking about just different times there. I'm curious, what are some highlights? Did you get a chance to go to RFK? I don't think we've ever talked about that.
No, I wasn't in the area at the time, and so I missed out on that. But I did watch a lot of television. Um, so I think probably the last game that they played at RFK with I think Farrat started. That was the game that I remember when we really didn't have anything to play for. Dallas didn't. They were trying to make the playoffs, but we wound up beating them. We smoked them, as a matter of fact. So, but I know that Dallas didn't play a lot of their starters. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I don't care if Dallas is playing their number one, number two, number threes. The fact is, we beat them. That's what I care about, and it was a great way to close out RFK with us beating Dallas.
Yeah, and I wasn't lucky enough to have season tickets to go to RFK. My father and I went to a handful of games. I'd say less than 10 games growing up. It was always a treat if someone had an extra ticket and my dad and I could go.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember any of the games. I just remember going there with my pops and tailgating for the first time and hanging out. It was actually the first time I saw my dad drunk was at a game at RFK.
Huh.
And, he had a good time. We were winning. And I just remember him fumbling and trying to find car keys because he didn't drive home, for those that are wondering. But, just trying to hang out and get back in the car to unlock it and get some stuff out of there because there was a cooler. And it was like a family environment that I feel we don't really have at FedEx. Back in, I want to say it was 2007, they tried to change the parking rules at FedEx. And it's when I started working with the team because they wanted to park us Disneyland style at FedEx. And I had an op-ed that Dan Steinberg in the Washington Post let me write. And he put up for me because said, we'll lose that camaraderie we have with our fellow fans and tailgaters. Like, if I don't get to the stadium the same minute that my friend did, then I'm not going to get a chance to park with them.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
So
yeah.
It was kind of frustrating to see. And RFK, a lot of those groups that tailgated there and hung out there carried over that did get season tickets to FedEx Field, but it's not the same because we're more spread out. It's not as close quarters. Obviously, it's a lot bigger parcel there. But tailgating at RFK is something I never actually had a chance to do. I was able to participate in it, but I didn't get a chance to cook or do anything. And Events DC, those of you that might know someone there, they did say that they were going to come out with, let's see if I can find it again. They're going to honor the incredible history and legacy of the stadium as we prepare for its eventual demolition. Events DC, don't hype me up like this and say you're going to honor RFK and come up short like that patch or like Thor Love and Thunder. All right, if you're going to honor it, let's honor it properly and give us that have been there and just really all the Commanders fans, Redskins fans, football team fans a chance to say goodbye. And I don't know what that means. I'm just putting it out in the ether. I would love to tailgate there one time before she's blown up, but give us a chance to have a proper goodbye. And
okay, so basically you want something to where, hypothetically, if they're going to implode it on a Monday, let's just say, you want to be able to go there maybe on a Saturday and a Sunday and just spend some time there to be able to maybe show some videos of people there. You want to be able to cook some food. You want to be able to bring it all home for one last time. Is that what I'm hearing you saying?
Videos, whatever it may be. Yeah, I'd love to do that because I live not too far from the stadium and I do drive by it and I do park there every once in a while. You can't park at FedEx Field anymore. It's annoying. They closed off all the lots. The only lot that is open is the lot that has the overhang over top of it with the solar panels.
Solar panel, okay.
All the other lots are closed. So I used to go to my parking space at FedEx Field and have lunch, have breakfast, whatever it may be, having a bad work day, or, The day our name was retired and taken away from us, I went to FedEx Field, hung out in my spot, and might have poured one out and had a cigar just to kind of reminisce and just take in what happened. Give me a chance to do that at RFK and say goodbye to the old girl is what I'm hoping.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'd love to be a part of that as well. And I think that what you'd find is you probably would have just be overwhelmed with people just down there because what I need to know is in Events DC, give us a date. Don't just throw out 2023. We understand that. But if you can give us a date, because you're going to have people from all around the world who are going to want to take this in for one last time or one last weekend. You just are. I mean, there's no way that you can do this. Because I remember when they were giving away, like you could get a seat, or you could get a swath of grass or something like that. You know, people were going crazy for that stuff. So here it is, the last time. You're going to have people who are in nursing homes who are going to want to be wheeled out to doggone see this. I mean, I'm going to want to see it. So yeah, give us a date, a hard date if you can. I know you probably can't do it right now, but whatever the best time frame for demolition, whether it be in the summertime or wintertime, I don't know when the best time is. Do you have any idea when that is?
No, that I have no idea. I think it would all just kind of depend on the weather and things like that. You know,
Spring,
that
probably, I guess. Yeah.
But you brought up a good point. You know, when they took seats out of FedEx Field, fans could buy seats. So the seats that they removed, they had a day where you could actually come to FedEx, pick whatever number and row you wanted. I got a pair sitting in my house, and let us do that with RFK.
Yeah.
Use it as a fundraising effort, whatever it may be. DC government, use it as a fundraiser to go to whatever charity, not someone's pocket, and give us a chance to have a piece of that history, a piece of all those memories that we still cherish to this day.
You need to. It's deserving to do that. I mean, how many times do we give true homegoing services to family members? And truthfully, RFK is like a family member to us. So we want to give it the proper homegoing.
No, I'm definitely going to miss the old girl, but you know, last episode, we went a little crazy. We definitely went a little long. We want to try and keep these, you know, around an hour and some change. And, you know, that being said, you know, hopefully we get a chance to say goodbye to RFK. But before we say goodbye to you all, I wanted to acknowledge DC Dave. So we usually start the show with people that left reviews. Well, we're going to end it with Dave this week. Dave watched our YouTube video. We have a channel now. We mentioned it earlier. Dave said, and he left a lot of comments, but this is one of them. The audio bits were great. I listened to the live press conferences for Terry's extension. I can listen to it over and over. Man is a true leader of men. Terry just gets it. Kudos to his parents. Love the show, Ted and Rally. So DC Dave, thank you for watching. Thank you for leaving the feedback. Those of you that haven't checked it out, check out the YouTube channel. Just DMV Mess Hall. You can find it out there. Subscribe to it, or go to dmvmesshall.com. If you get a chance, like, subscribe, follow, share. We really appreciate it. Keep the messages coming. Keep the reviews coming. And with that said, I can't wait for the next episode of the Mess Hall.